what did you think of Alexander Usyk's domination of Anthony Joshua?
Uh, I'm gonna put it like this, Brian. It's a difference between one being made to be or do something than someone being born to be or do something. And I'm gonna let that marinate as well.
Wow.
That's Deontay Wilder giving his take on Anthony Joshua losing to Usyk on the Brian Custer Last Stand podcast. This was a classic, so in case you missed it, I'm gonna leave the link for the full interview in the description box below. Now, as you all heard, Deontay Wilder pretty much said that Anthony Joshua is a boxing industry plant. He wasn't born to be a champion, he was made to be a champion. That's what Deontay Wilder was alluding to, since Anthony Joshua is missing a big portion of the boxing puzzle, which is the mental aspect of the game, the will to win, doing whatever it takes to get the job done. Here is more of what Deontay Wilder had to say.
Listen, late in that fight, he had Joshua against the ropes, and it looked like he was going to take him out. Were you surprised that Usyk handled Anthony Joshua in that fight?
I wasn't surprised, you know. I mean, I wasn't surprised at all for the simple fact when you go back and look at Ruiz and what he did and how he did it, you know, and you go back into this fight, I consider Usyk a lot better than Ruiz. He's definitely taller, but the thing about it, he's a southpaw that's doing it, and we know for sure Joshua has only, in my knowledge, has fallen on one southpaw. Cause southpaws can be tricky, you know, and Usyk is a southpaw, and he got good movement as a southpaw. I do feel that certain heavyweights that he would have a problem with, but we've seen him, come into fights and have problem with different heavyweights, just like Tim Witherspoon. I think if Tim Witherspoon had a little bit more stamina and was able to, fully train, because I heard he didn't have too much time to train, but have fully trained, and the guy that's been sitting out for that long of a time that he did and come in and did what he did, if he had a little bit more stamina, we probably would have seen a different outing in that fight, him coming in. And you see Tresora, he did an amazing job as well with him. So we know Usyk, have certain problems with certain heavyweights. But in this division, you have to have a heart of a lion. You have to have the courage and the mindset of a beast. You got to believe that you are the best. You have to go in and say, it ain't about being cocky or arrogant. And that's what people get it wrong in this sport. And it takes a certain mindset to be able to do this on a certain type of level. You feel me? To be
Yeah.
able to know that this is all I got, but when I go back to my corner, I'm gonna have to bring out some more. When I'm already tired, I'm so tired that it feel like I'm about to die if I breathe one more time. But something in you have to replace that fear. And you just have to dig deep. And you gotta say, I don't care what it takes, I'm gonna die in the ring. Oh man, it's so hard to explain when you're trying to explain. I try to break it so down that a child can understand when you're dealing with a sport like this, man. When
Well,
you
the
say I'm
reason why
going to die in the ring, when a person says that, that's what they mean. And when you're not in it and you're not brave enough to do this, then you won't understand that terminology of what that person means by that.
yeah,
You
I
don't
no
throw that
no.
damn towel in. I'm going to die doing this. And that's what it is. And when you're willing to die for what you do, then it ain't no job, baby. It's not. And people have to respect that and understand. That's why when I say, when I fight, if your stomach can't digest what your eyes is about to see, please don't watch. Please, 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 because this is a warrior sport for me. I don't play around with this. This sport right here, There ain't no other sport like this. There's no other sports that have had as many deaths, if any sport that have any death like boxing. No matter what, your head is not meant to be hit for 12 rounds with gloves, and sometimes people take the padding out and put things in it and plaster on their hands and shit and try to put some type of PD in their body to do certain things and shit, and people accept that. Man, this is already dangerous, bro. It's already dangerous, and you got to understand the mindset of a warrior than a casual fan or someone that's sitting out there, an expert that think they know what they talking about when they really don't. I've been in the sport for 25, 50 years, ain't got shit to do with you being able to actually have experience 1 or 2 years or just a couple of seconds of experience in that ring to actually really feel and understand what it really about. Because now, first his point was, it's not about the fight, it's not about the man, it's about the belts. I guess it's about the man and not the belts now since he's on the opposite side of the grass. Let that marinate.
See, the cold reality is when Anthony Joshua fought Usyk, he was more than satisfied cruising to a loss than taking a risk in order to win, by putting himself in harm's way to score the knockout or perhaps get KO'd. Sometimes that's what it takes in order to win. However, when it comes to Anthony Joshua, it's a pattern. He waves the white flag mentally during the fight if the fight is not going his way. First, he did it with Andy Ruiz, and now he did it again with Usyk. See, the main difference between Deontay Wilder and an Anthony Joshua, beside the confidence, so on and so forth, is the fact that Deontay Wilder is willing to die in the ring. Meanwhile, that's something Anthony Joshua is not willing to do. He won't even give it a thought. And in a fight where it's not going your way, guess what mindset will bail you out? Definitely not the one that's going to give up, but the one that's willing to die in order to win. That's Deontay Wilder for you. Even when he got cheated by Tyson Fury, he was still willing to go out on his shield. That's an iron mindset. You either have it or you don't. The likes of Floyd Mayweather, Deontay Wilder, they have it. However, a lot of other fighters don't, which that's going to be Anthony Joshua's biggest obstacle heading to the rematch. Furthermore, Deontay Wilder brought up an excellent point to why Anthony Joshua never fought him, due to the mental aspect of the sport. Deontay Wilder brought up the fact that Anthony Joshua offered him a flat fee of $15 million to fight, with 0% when it came to pay-per-view, no shares whatsoever. A flat offer. Keep in mind, Deontay Wilder was the longest reigning champion at the time. However, ironically, Anthony Joshua offered a pay-per-view percentage to every other champion he fought that was a lesser name and less accomplished than Deontay Wilder. Then he turned around and gave Wilder a lowball flat fee offer. To make matter worse, Deontay Wilder actually accepted the offer, and Anthony Joshua turned around and turned down his own offer he sent Wilder to fight the cheater Povetkin at the time, who failed for steroids a fight prior to that. And now we know why. Anthony Joshua turned down the fight for great reasons, put it that way. Also, Deontay Wilder gave his thoughts on Anthony Joshua, calling him one-dimensional, even though it's ironic that AJ fought Usyk one-dimensional. Now, I already made a video on that, which I'm gonna leave the link for that video in the comment section below. And last but not least, subscribe below and click on the notification bell. I'm gonna leave you guys with Wilder's take on the rematch between AJ and Usyk.
But you know what, though? Once I beat Fury, and if Usyk beat Joshua again for the second time, which a lot of the world, predict that it will happen, unless he changed some things up in his camp, and only if he changed some things up in his camp, I think Usyk would be an honorable man, and he will fight. And we could see that, because I'm going to get Fury out of there. There's no doubt in my mind whatsoever. He ain't been training as hard as he don't want it as bad as I want it. And he don't know what's to come. They ain't never seen this Wilder. Nobody has. And I'm going to prove that. on October. I'm gonna prove that. I think if Usyk has the belt by that time of me beating Fury, I think you can see that. But we'll see when that comes, because you know how guys get when they get belts, they get funny acting.